All right, we're talking a little bit of college football to start with here. And there were some pretty nice games this last weekend. Let's start off with the big dog. And the big dog, as Cole and I were just discussing, is Alabama. Alabama beat Arkansas about the head and everywhere else, 65-31. They are clearly the best team in college football. Score number 2, the Dogs took on Vandy at Georgia and dealt with them pretty well, 41-13. We're starting to get that time of the year where you look at games and say, did they really beat them by enough? Notre Dame went to Virginia Tech, and they played their last opponent that is currently ranked in the top 25 and dealt with Virginia Tech pretty well, especially late. Big, long, I think like 98-yard run, and Ian Book was throwing the ball extremely well. The defense looked good. It was a good performance by Notre Dame. Another great performance by Florida. Dan Mullen had the Gators going, and they took out LSU, who was ranked number 5 in the country down in the swamp in Florida. That was a lot of fun to watch. Oklahoma and Texas, the Red River rivalry. Early wasn't much of a game. Oklahoma came steaming back, and Kyler Murray almost pulled off the upset, but Texas kicks a field goal right at the end. Texas is now 5-1 after that opening loss to Maryland, and they're going to be a top 10 team if they can maintain this style of play. They're going to be right there at the end. It sets up a heck of a match with West Virginia. A big disappointment, and we talked to Cole Kubelik about this. Auburn played Mississippi State, and Mississippi State just strummed them, 23-9. It was something to see, and like Cole mentioned, and I'll reinforce, this is just a different Auburn team right now, and not different good. I'm talking about different bad. The next game up, Ohio State, who played that great game week before against Penn State at night and out there at at Penn State. They played Indiana this week, and they dealt with them pretty severely, 49-26, and that's the way they're going to have to keep winning. Another fantastic game. Florida State got out to a big lead on Miami, and Miami came steaming back, and they beat them 28-27 right at the wire. And one of the unbeatens that went down this week in college football was Kentucky. Poor Kentucky. Heck, poor Kentucky. They're 5-1. That's pretty tall cotton for Kentucky. Let's see how they keep doing, because the East is there for the taking, and we'll see if they can take advantage of it. The big dog there is the Dogs of Georgia, and they meet up here pretty quick. All right, let's go on to the NFL and some of the games that happened yesterday. We'll go through these pretty quick. Dallas and Houston. Houston won that game 19-16. What a shame. Anytime Dallas doesn't win, my old Niner days kind of come out in me, and I say that's a good thing. Jacksonville and Kansas City. Ooh, Kansas City put it to them. They were shutting them out for a while. Kansas City's for real now. They not only are about an offense, they're actually got a pretty good defense too, because they tortured Blake Bortles when he wasn't just handing him the ball. Atlanta played Pittsburgh yesterday. Well, they said they played Pittsburgh, especially late. They laid down and played dead in the fourth quarter, and Pittsburgh cooperated and scored a couple late touchdowns and made it look pretty ugly. But Atlanta's got a lot of injuries. That's their excuse, and they're sticking to it. Next up on the hit parade is Minnesota and Philadelphia. This was a heck of a game that was decided late on a field goal. Minnesota wins 23-21, and the Eagles are now 2-3. And speaking of field goals, the Giants went to Carolina. Cam Newton in Carolina drives down with basically in overtime, no time left, even in overtime, like 6 seconds when they snapped the ball. And Graham Gano hits a 63-yard field goal to win the game. That was some exciting football.